All right, this morning we have Pastor Riley Grandel of Gulf Shore Church to lead us in the invocation. Please stand.
Good morning.
Morning.
You know, after 20 years, a little over 20 years of being very involved in the community and everything, I still get asked all the time just exactly where Gulf Shore Church is. So for those that don't know, we are occupying the former tax office. You know, they criticized Jesus for hanging out with tax collectors. We just moved in. So we are just 2 blocks north of the charter school on Burnwood Drive. So good morning to everyone. So Lord, I just thank you that we can come together like this and the freedom that we have to come and have a meeting like this and not be fearful of persecution. And so Lord, we come into your courts today with thanksgiving and with praise because we are so thankful for this beautiful place that you've given us called Bonita Springs that we can call home. Lord, I thank you that your hand will be upon the council today to guide them, direct them, give them wisdom and understanding of all the decisions that they need to make on the agenda. And Lord, we receive the answers that we have because we know that you're going to guide us and direct us in everything that we do. So we just give it all to you in the name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Bogas.
Here.
Councilmember Carr.
Here.
Mayor Gibson.
Here.
Councilmember Corey.
Here.
Councilmember Fullick.
Here.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
I hear he's on his way, so. All right. Public comment on agenda-only items. If you're here for any of the zoning, you'll speak at that time, but right now, anything on the agenda other than zoning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, City Council. My name is Kyle Moran. I first moved to Bonita Springs 32 years ago. I spend most of my time on Phelps Avenue in the downtown, and I want to thank you all, including your great staff, for what a great job you're doing in that downtown. We've all had a dream of improving that great downtown, and it's happening. It's happening in really profound ways. The team at Sugar Shack Downtown had a soft opening where they invited first responders and had about 300 plus folks, young deputies and young firefighters and EMS folks and things. And more than a few shared a story of growing up in Bonita Springs and remembering what it was, remembering when helicopters were circling overhead because we were trying to clear out bad elements. You know, remembering when they would travel elsewhere and they would tell their, people that they met on the road that they were from Naples, or Fort Myers, but not Bonita Springs, and how proud they are today to call Bonita Springs home. We hear it everywhere. Councilman Fullick, whose district includes the downtown, has long talked about how we can make that downtown no longer just a pass-through from Fort Myers to Naples, but a great destination for all the community and for all ages, and it's happening. There are others that are saying pretty outlandish things. There's a tardy member of your august body that calls it the greatest city in America, which not long ago seemed ludicrous, but is now being joined by the chorus of others saying things as crazy as Bonita is cool, and Bonita is better than Naples. We're seeing this change of perception in MLS listings, where realtors talking about how great Bonita is are increasingly mentioning the proximity of properties to the great downtown with its great parks and the great coffee shops and brew houses and restaurants and great public events. Even the Naples Daily News is struggling literally to describe it. Can you imagine this? This is just less than a month ago. Naples Daily News, this entire portion is dedicated to the downtown in our city, in Bonita Springs. And their description is, words can't even describe it. They can't find the words, but they're dedicating space in the Naples Daily News to talk about Bonita. So let's just keep it going. And on agenda item 11A, I'd like to express my support for the great plans that you've been working on for Banyan Tree Park. We're seeing a lot of families come to downtown, and that would be a great family feature. Also, please move forward with lighting the large city lot at Feltz and Ragsdale. That's just a little scary looking at night and would do so much better with light. And continue to do these common sense things that I think you already are planning on, like wayfinding signage down there so people can find public parking and public amenities. So thank you again for your great works, and let's all keep building a better Bonita together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, City Council. My name is Gordon Henke. I'm part of the Sugar Shack family. And I just want to say thank you again for all the hard work you guys are doing. I've been extremely impressed with how thoughtful you've planned everything downtown. And I'm really here for, I had some of our younger staff's parents just were walking in twos. I'm having them park in that lot on Ragsdale and Feltz, and we're walking in buddy systems and whatnot. And the parents specifically asked me to come and just thank you for working on getting that lit, because they're a little concerned just with their young kids. So, but we're real excited about everything. I'm real excited about the Banyan Tree project and just all the hard work you're doing. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Council and Mayor and staff. I'm not quite as eloquent as, my name is Jim Magnus, live in Bonita Springs. We've been here since about 1990. Not as eloquent a speaker as Kyle Moran, but certainly echo the praise for the City Council and previous City Councils for all the work that you've done to really support the downtown and to build the downtown into what it is becoming. We really do need, as item number 11, the Banyan Tree project to move forward. That was kind of on the schedule over a year ago. We'd love to see that move forward and get that into a building phase. There also is a problem if you drive down late at night. The remote parking that is the bioreactor is dark at night, and it would be great if you could get that lit. Now that Sugar Shack is open, there are additional parking spaces that are needed, and that will be very, very helpful. We also think that the wayfinding signage will be helpful as well. I know that you guys are all working on it. We just hope that you can push that forward as quickly as possible. That will help people to find that parking lot as well, because a lot of people still don't know that that parking lot is there. The last item that I think is important is over a year ago, City Council had approved to engage DPZ to do a reimagination of downtown to include the Lyles Hotel, the Artist Cottages, the Good Bread Building, and the rest of the kind of park system. We've done a lot of piecemeal pieces there, but I'd like to see that continue to move forward and also consider possibly a parking garage. You maybe don't need it today, but that's something that if you don't plan it today, when you need it in 2 years, 3 years, it's really not going to be available for you because you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So I think that reimagining of downtown to make it more of a destination for some of those particular areas will be very beneficial for the whole downtown and to activate that downtown even more. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great meeting.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else? Right, seeing none, item 6A. Mike?
This is a first reading of a zoning ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, rezoning approximately 1.04 acres plus or minus from two-family conservation TFC-2 to residential plan development RPD to preserve the existing duplex structures and allow two deviations located at address 27036/038 Williams Road, 27020-028 Williams Road, and 27001/031 Sun Aqua Lane, Bonita Springs, Florida 34135, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, if this item is quasi-judicial, if you don't mind, I'd like to swear in Mr. Fegan. If there's anyone here that intends to testify on this item, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes,
There you go. That's it. We're good.
but now I can say anything right now.
Now you can say anything. It's true.
No rules.
Threat of perjury.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's still me, Mike Fegan, for the record, with Community Development. As Mike had read, this is to rezone approximately a little over an acre from the existing TFC2 two-family conservation district to a residential plan development. The main thrust behind this application is really an attempt to cure several nonconformities that exist on site. So when they were sort of weighing their options, they could have either submitted for 6, 8, 10 different variances to do what they wanted to do, or they could have done the residential plan development process, provide a set of unifying development regulations for consideration. That was the staff preference, mainly because of the city's ability to provide conditions of approval tied to the existing development or any proposed future development. So they submitted a sufficient application, and it's what's before you today. Essentially, the request is to allow these existing duplexes to remain, but to be separated onto their own lots. Currently, there's several parcels that are part of this project where you have multiple duplexes that are on the same lot, which isn't permitted within their existing zoning district, but they didn't have enough land area to do the split within the guidelines of the code and still meet all the requirements of TFC2. So really, we're just talking about some lot widths and depths and some setbacks. Nothing that's too out of the ordinary in terms of other residential plan developments that you've seen in the past. But that's the main thrust for the application. Again, though, they are not proposing any new development as part of this request. The goal is to allow the existing duplexes to remain in place. However, there are several conditions that staff has proposed and the applicant has accepted that would deal with new development should it occur somewhere in the future. So the goal wasn't to tie them to say you only get these duplexes and once they go away, you're done. That's not the way we do it. So we do have several conditions that are tied to new development should it occur at some point in the future. Your zoning board heard this case. They voted unanimously for approval, 6-0. Staff and the applicant are in agreement. If you would like us to go forward with a full presentation, we can. The applicant's here, or we can see you at second reading. It's your call. Thank you.
Anybody want a presentation?
I don't. I just have one question though, real quick. I like the idea of cleaning up non-conforming issues to make everything how it should be. What is the inspiration to actually go through this process if there isn't something on the other end to rebuild down there? Which I'm fine with. I'm just curious, like, what is the reason to go through this entire thing?
For them,
Yeah,
I think it was because at one point, and I don't want to speak
because it was allowed as it was, right? Like it was fine how it was. We weren't bugging them, so why go through this process?
I think they were running into issues if they wanted to sell.
Okay.
Because when you go and you do the title check and they see that it's non-conforming, that makes it more difficult. So that might have something to do with it.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Yep, any public comment?
Motion to move to second reading.
We don't need to do that anymore.
Oh, that's right.
It just automatically goes. Okay, we'll see you at second reading.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Are there any members of the public wish to speak on it?
I asked, nobody got up.
I was zoned out by the
Again.
change.
Don't go there, Derek.
All right, consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, motion and second. Roll call.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
All right. Anybody have any comments on the consent agenda? All right, item 8, presentations. Got
Thank you,
the,
Mayor and Council. At this time, we would ask that the Wonder Gardens come forward. As part of your operating agreement with the Wonder Gardens, we work to provide updates regarding capital improvement projects. This will also help in the city's future discussions regarding improvements on the property as well.
Advance.
you can just use your eyes.
Perfect. Well, good morning, Mayor and Council. We appreciate the opportunity to give you an update of where we are with the Wonder Gardens, you know, some of our projects that we have ongoing, and some of the future projects that we have that we're looking at potentially, hopefully in the near future as well. So I did want to mention we had a wonderful gala, and I want to thank anybody who was there. It was great to get that back up and running. We had that last weekend, and there was tremendous support from the community. And I want to say this too is we've had you know, a number of compliments throughout the gardens of people that are starting to see the changes, you know, what's going on and how things are looking. And that's, I think, what you'll see is, you know, like today we're talking about Renew the Wonder. And that's all part of our master plan, but it is. It's kind of revitalizing the Wonder Gardens and giving you an opportunity to go ahead and see some of the new plans that we're looking at and currently working on. Now, one of the areas we have, it's right behind the billboard by the river, is our Tortoises of the World. Now, we had a donor previously that had donated a number of funds for that. We are waiting to pull some plans together. That's an area, it was a low-lying area. I know we've had some flooding issues in that area. So what we wanted to do is to take a look at really enhancing that area, not only for our tortoises, but also for the public viewing as well. So right now, if you went there, it is really fairly bare, you know, the soil. We've got some trees in there, some stumps in there, but this would give us an opportunity to go ahead and bring additional tortoises in as well. Now we have the sulcatas, which are fairly large tortoises, but the large Aldabra tortoises as well. But one of the things you look at, you can see this kind of like a mural that's on the back side of this exhibit. What we're planning on doing there is putting this mural in that would cover up the back side of the billboard. Because when you look back there, it looks really rough back there, and it's like, you know, we can clean that up. One of the other things you can take a look at, we do have an outpost, kind of a fun thing, looks like a research outpost. That'll be where the tortoises will have the ability to go up in there, not only for shade, but for protection from any of the storms. One of the things we do know, you know, from Hurricane Ian, really where the water level came up, what we would do is this particular outpost would sit on the ground and give us the opportunity to have a safe place for them. Previously in Ian, their safe place was in my office. And now my office is the animal kitchen. And I can't fit that many sulcata tortoises in there anymore. So this will give us a great opportunity, and it'll be fun too, and there'll be some interactive things for the children as well. One of the things that we have interest from a potential donor, and we talked about this, you know, we first had with the master plan, there might be projects that come up in this master plan that might kind of move from further down the road to close, you know, and we do have a potential donor that's very interested in the alligator exhibit. And in the master plan, what we looked at doing is really enhancing that alligator exhibit a few different ways. The viewing would be one thing that you'd be able to go ahead and view from some nice viewing panels versus having that concrete wall that's in front. It's really tough, especially for the kids or, you know, anybody who happens to be in a wheelchair really has a difficult time too. But one of the other things that we'd be looking at is underwater viewing. That would be unique. We'd also move the alligator snapping turtle over there. But I wanted to bring this up because it was something that we were looking at, you know, a few years down the road. But we do have a potential donor out there right now that, you know, those plans, we may come back to go ahead and ask for consideration to go ahead and move forward with this. So it looks really good. This particular exhibit, it is in the same place as the alligator exhibit is right now. You'd be in like an old fishing cabin, basically looking at underwater view of both alligators and the alligator snapping turtle. One of the things right now is we're looking at with that barn, with the barn coming down. We use the barn, you know, for weddings, also other rentals, but the barn area itself was the animal kitchen, also some animal holding. We've been real busy over the last few months getting that barn cleaned out, ready to go, moving really the plant nursery from behind the maintenance. There's an old maintenance building. So we're ready to go when that time comes to go ahead and move that barn. But one of the things we did plan in the master plan is what do we do once that comes down? And we have a children's discovery areas that what we're looking at. One of the key components in there will be a small amphitheater, because currently we do not have a dedicated outdoor space, you know, for any children's classroom. So that would probably be the first thing that would go in. And then there'd be other hands-on items that the kids could go ahead and discover, from like a mining sluice they could pick fossils from, to some other play activities. In addition, you know, we might have some artifacts there as well. So, and that would all sit on that paver surface that's right there. So we are planning, once that comes down, we'll have a large open space, but you know, the thing is, we got a large open space, so we'll have a lot of opportunity there. And one of the things that when we did look at, you know, the whole overall plan, which was a need, was an area for children as well. And we thought this would work out fantastic. The otter exhibit. The otter exhibit is moving forward. I just wanted to show you some pictures. We do have 2 otters, not on site. They're up in Ohio right now. They'll be waiting to come down. We're hoping within the next 2 months we'll have that otter exhibit finished, and we'll be able to go ahead, move the otters and open up that display. I know we're excited to have that ready to go. Currently right now we are putting in, it looks like an aviary, but it's all acrylic panels. That'll be the alligator nursery. So that is going in there right now. So that whole area will change. And it's a huge part of the gardens. It's in the middle, but it'll definitely change the whole look and feel of the gardens. But we have otters that will be ready to come down. Now, we have had several donations for different smaller aviaries. As you can see here, this replaced an old aviary. We're looking at taking a lot of the old aviaries out, putting in new aviaries, freshen everything up. Likewise, you see with fence and everything else. But here, the Amberman family donated funds for these 2 aviaries. We just opened them about a week ago. And the birds, we have a Moluccan cockatoo and a keel-billed toucan, very popular. And those birds were from the shell factory. So we did have an opportunity to bring some birds down from the shell factory as they were closing. They did give us a couple small aviaries as well as they were closing up there. So it's great to give them a new home, and they're very popular with the visitors. Now, this project is the Animal Care Center. We have this currently, we have that submitted for state appropriations. We're hoping that we'll have the opportunity to secure that funding to put the animal care center up. As you recall, that, that's an area that will have really a treatment facility for just our animals on site. And we'll also have an ability to go ahead and do some diet preparation and be able to bring the public back there to see all that going on. Also, we'll provide the upstairs with potentially some rental space, which would be kind of a boardroom, multi-purpose room, and then some office spaces. You can see to the right is the existing building that's there. Currently, it's an administration building slash animal care building. It's also the diet kitchen. All that is going on in there. So what we'd end up doing is, since we moved the horticulture area and the maintenance area to a temporary spot behind the fence in the back, is that would become the horticulture area, the animal nursery area, and then all the animal functions would move over into that new building. The addition, it would give us animal holding space too, because that's the other thing, having that animal holding space for any potential storms, but also bringing new animals in as well. The other building that we put in for state appropriations is an event building. This would go on alongside along the river on the back side of our special event area. We're losing the barn really give us the opportunity we needed to have a space that we could use for weddings. But this also gives us a building in a space that is climate controlled, so that we'll be able to go ahead and have not only, we can do some classrooms out of here as well, some presentations, but also weddings, other gatherings, really a great rental space. And then in addition to that, on the right side of the building would be new public restrooms as well. So we'd have public restrooms on that end of the property. So we're hoping, that the appropriations will come through. One of the last items that we're working on right now is we wanted to go and expand our orchid garden because we have a donation already for the orchid garden. We've had that and it's been sitting, but we really needed to look at moving the flamingos, to get a permanent night house for them, something that also will be storm ready, but also give us the ability to go ahead and bring in additional flamingos. They're in an old area right now, so this is kind of a view of a new flamingo night house, kind of the walk up to it. You'll see the blue bamboo there. I do have a little video I'd like to show you, and really it's revitalizing that whole lagoon area and then expanding the orchid garden. We do have a donor right now. We have funds, we're just waiting right now to go ahead and put a flamingo night house in so that we can go ahead and move the flamingos over to that, expand that orchid garden, so we have a nice little grotto and also another potential rental area. But you can see if you're looking over from the special event area, we have just to the left, you'll see there's some current aviaries, but that's what the flamingo night house would look like. It would also have a little pool in there. It's got a kind of Florida look and feel. There'll also be an area that you can go in there and kind of meet and greet and some behind the scenes one-on-one encounters with the flamingos as well. But it'll be up high and dry so that instead of transporting flamingos home with staff or putting them in the bathrooms during a storm and all that prep, we'll have a nice place for them. And then this is expanding the orchid garden. One of the things you will see, I've got just a brief video, you'll see that, what that'll look like, kind of a 3D walkthrough and everything. But you'll see a lot of the structures where to go ahead and be able to hang orchids in there. Also, you'll have some entrance ways, arches and everything, but you'll also see a neat space which is going to be an orchid grotto area where, like I said, it is kind of set aside that you'd be able to go ahead and rent But if you think about it, if you know where the current night building is, it's that whole caged-in area, and there's a pool in there. That would be removed, and then this is where the orchid garden would go. So, I'm gonna go ahead and, let's see how I get out of it. And we just did the design work on this, but this would be what the orchid grotto would look like. Those are existing cages that we have right now, and we have birds in.
So do you walk them in every night into the house or only when there's a storm?
No, we walk them in every night. You know, the one thing too is, because we do have, you know, birds of prey, raptors in the area, so they have to be in a covered area at night as well. So currently, believe it or not, I mean, the area they're in, there's like an old pool, and I don't know, but I mean, I guess it used to be a large cat exhibit at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine that, but that's what it was. But
It was.
But this, you know, we'd have some nice archways here. You know, the donor for the orchid garden right now is very excited about this. They'd like to do a little bit more. You can see all the orchid hangers that are in there. One of the things that we have an issue with right now too is if you've got orchids and trying to display them and not having the iguanas eat the orchids, which they'll pick out the best and they'll start with them first and kind of go from there. Now this gives us a nice area. And you know, this is also an opportunity, you know, if you have brick programs, I know we had a brick program in Green Bay, you know, that worked out great. But you could also look at sponsoring, you know, all these orchid hangers as well. Be a way to go ahead and be a part of garden. But this is where that orchid grotto that's kind of tucks away. You see what it would look like with the Flamingo Night House in there. And it would replace the current Flamingo Night House. But it does become a real nice place. It's, you know, it's a little bit off the path. So it gives you an opportunity. I think roughly about 25. We could see 25 in that area. And this is currently what you see out there right now. That's one of the older buildings where the alligator snapping turtle is. And we really started the first phase a few years ago. And then you'd go from there through that archway. You know, and it's good to be able to go through different archways and portals. We look as you're designing zoos and botanical gardens, you know, gives you that feel like you're going into the next space, right? You know, what's behind it. And here's where the Flamingo Lagoon would be. We do have currently there's an island in the Flamingo Lagoon. We had just enhanced the beach a little bit. That's the fencing. And of course have the opportunity then to bring additional flamingos in. You know, as we look to become accredited, you know, one of the things is we're going to need those type of facilities as well to go ahead and properly house those birds. Then you can see one of the things we also looked at, this is that walkway, that brick pathway, and on the left you see the special event area. That's where currently we had weddings, we had the gala there. One of the things that we looked at as we look around that whole lagoon is we wanted to bring some additional color in there too. So we did, we had put together really a planting plan for that to go ahead and enhance it. That's all stuff that our horticulture crew could do. But this would be the view. If say you're having a wedding over on the other side, you look across, you'd be able to see that. And one other interesting thing that we did add is kind of a bump out that you'll see which we think is going to be a nice area because it's kind of a pinch point there. You'll see that in a minute. You're kind of standing on it right now, and that's the waterfall that's there. You know, we're adding some other plants in there to get a little bit of color. But you can see here's that little bump out. Now that might only go out like 2 feet over the water, if that. But we think that's going to be a real popular spot for pictures and just be able to take a look at the lagoon as well. So that is an update of kind of our plans, where we're at, and what we're doing. And well, like I said, we're doing a lot of enhancing of the Wonder Gardens, and like we said, renewing the wonder.
Thank you. Anybody have questions or comments? Looks very good.
Just make a comment. It's been my pleasure for the last year to be the liaison to the Wonder Gardens. And, you know, the excitement that the board has and Neil has and his staff in terms of improving the Wonder Gardens and really making it special is quite a accomplishment to what we're trying to get done downtown in terms of a walkable downtown and entertainment venue, something for the kids, an educational place. So I just can't be any more proud of the work that's been done at the Wonder Gardens. And it's important for donors, I think, to recognize that the public-private partnership is working, and the city is fully behind the Wonder Gardens, and we want to make it a joint success for the Wonder Gardens and for the city. So congratulations to the board, and congratulations to Neil for all the fine work that's been done.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Jim?
Yes, Neil, first of all, thank you for everything you've done. What you've done with your board, what you've done with your staff is truly a wonder. But I think the biggest question that I have is, with all this work that's been put in, the sweat and so forth, what are some of the numbers in terms of attendance? How has attendance been, that type of thing?
Yeah, our attendance right now is, I think we're going to be somewhere around maybe 80,000 for the year, which is good. I mean, we're getting back to pre-Ian. You know, we're not there yet, and you know, we're kind of seeing that around, you know, with, you know, other attractions as well. But if any indication with, I mean, we're on par with that this season. It's been extremely busy, which has been great to see. And like I said, the one thing is bringing a lot of these new things online. You know, usually you'll see if you bring a major exhibit online, you know, you could see anywhere from like 8 to 12% increase in attendance. You know, so a lot of this is all just starting to roll out right now. Right. So that's going to be great. You know, I think one of the things we have the opportunity to do as well, and I always looked at this as, you know, you have the season, right? And you got everybody coming in. It's great, you can see, and we're one of the few places left. You know, that's one thing there. But also you do have that opportunity to grow the base that is in the off season. So your shoulder season, off seasons for the community, your memberships and everything like that, to kind of bring them back. And once you have these new things, you know, they want to come back several times a year. So getting a membership and being part of that. So I think we got some great opportunity.
So this estimated 80,000, is that up significantly, about the same as last year, or what?
No, it'll be up from last year.
And that last year was approximately?
Well, approximately like 70s.
70s?
Yeah,
okay, so you're
somewhere
up
right
10
around
plus
there.
percent. Second thing is, you got a lot of commitment that has been made by potential donors and that type of stuff. When you come back 2 years from now, what do you think we're going to see in the Wonder Gardens of all these visions that have been out there?
You know, I think once everybody, you know, sees some of these new projects coming online now, and I think that's been the big thing is, you know, everybody's been waiting, you know, and obviously we went through a lot, you know, from Ian, and we developed a great public-private partnership. You know, those were, I mean, that partnership is, you know, it's like building the foundation for your success. Now, bringing these on, and, you know, we've had a significant number, I would say, of donors that have just kind of been sitting and just kind of waiting, right? You know, because they want to see something happen now. And I agree. But now they are starting to see that, you know, that I think, you know, really in 2 years, I mean, we could have a number of these projects. And here's the other thing is, you know, the donors are going to you know, be showing up from all over Southwest Florida. You know, because as they look at this Wonder Gardens is, you know, I know we're here in Bonita Springs and everything, but it means something to so many in Southwest Florida, you know, that they want to be a part of it. So I'm excited. I know what we have coming up, even, you know, currently with donors that we have secured and then those waiting. I mean, it's going to really change things here.
But we'd probably go ahead and see the orchid display done.
Yes.
The grotto and those type of things. Any of the other projects we'll probably see done in the next 2 years.
I would, you know, it all depends, like I say, with the animal care center, you know, and the event center, that could change. I would also say the discovery area, once the barn is taken down, there's elements there that, you know, are smaller elements, you know, that could be sponsored. So that will begin. So we'll start to see that as well. And then you'll also see some enhancement with, you know, some of the other freestanding aviaries as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Keep up the good road.
Laura?
Hi, Neil.
Hi.
Great. It's so exciting. I heard the gala was wonderful. I had a prior engagement, but I'm putting it on my calendar for next
Awesome.
year, so nothing is going to come in the way.
And it'll be our 90th.
Wow. Well, my daughter went there with her kids, and she said, "Oh, your membership is expired. Why don't you send out membership renewals?"
You know, I know we do,
Oh.
but
I will come by tomorrow and pay, you know,
awesome.
for my year.
Well, appreciate it.
But it could be extra revenue coming in, right?
Absolutely. You know, and memberships are, you know, I mean, it's something that it's great to build that base because it's, you know, you repeat. But, you know, oftentimes, you know, it's those individuals that also then become your donors, so it's really important.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jesse?
Yes, it's great to see you.
to see you.
We did a lot of blood, sweat, and tears on the
We did.
agreement, and I'm really glad to see all of these things actually come on paper, come to be starting to, you know, come to closer to fruition. As far as along the same lines of Jim, as far as like the gator exhibit, otter, aviary, those things, do you have in your head, do you have an order of operations? I mean, I know you said timetable rough, you know, 2 years, but like, do you have an order? We're going to hit the gator thing, then we're going to go to the otters, then we're going to go to the aviary.
Right.
Like, what are we looking at as far as
Right
the
now,
rollouts?
yeah, we'll see the otter, and then we'll see the alligator nursery. You know, that'll be coming up. You know, next after that, you'll see the orchid garden and the flamingo. I mean, we're getting close to a potential donation for the flamingo night house. So that could go ahead and move forward. That's not as complex as the project. Also, that tortoises of the world, that, you know, we'd see that realistically within 2 months, for sure that would be up. The barn, when that comes down, you know, then we've got the ability to go ahead, put some pieces in there, like the amphitheater and that. So I'm thinking we'd see that well within a year. So there's going to be a lot of those pieces. And then that's going to it'll transform the Wonder Gardens at that point. And I'm sure as we look at that, then we'll have additional donors. Now, the one thing with the alligator exhibit right now, you know, we are waiting with the donor, you know, wants to see, you know, a lot of these things happening right now to go ahead and make that commitment. You know, and wants to also, as you can imagine, I know we'll have this discussion is when we look at the public-private partnership, the agreement, and how late because some of, you know, these donors are going to say, you know, I'd like to have that agreement out as long as that building's going to depreciate. Well, we may have to have that conversation when, especially we're looking at if the state comes through with those other buildings. But that is, I think, on some of these larger projects, I think we're going to see that, you know, and it's great. I mean, everything is working fantastic, but that might be a little bit of a sticking point that we might have to take a look at.
As long as we stay ahead of it, I mean, I think they'd have to be done individually, and
Yep.
I think the way it's written now, they can't outgo the contract, so it would have to be like a prorated deal. I don't know if we're even allowed to do that, but we can figure that out. Okay, that's good. As far as your discussions with the state legislators and the appropriation asks, I heard the event center. What else did you guys ask?
And that was for the Animal Care Center.
Animal care center? Okay.
Correct.
Did they seem positive on that?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I think that's all I've got. You guys keep hitting the gas. Good job. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Nigel?
Yes, sir. Morning, Neil.
Morning.
Do want to make sure that we acknowledge a lot of times we don't see the people behind the scenes, and to have at least 2 of your board members here this morning, I think that's great. Dr. Arsenault, thank you for what you've done. Question for you. Are your donors and members comfortable now? Do they understand that there's a real positive working relationship between the city and the Wonder Gardens? Do they understand that that's what's in place now?
Absolutely. And I would thank Councilman Corey on that as well, because, we take the opportunity, and he took the opportunity during the gala to go ahead and, and talk to everybody who was at the gala and let them know that that's all working. And I think that's important, and I think it's important that all of us have that opportunity to go ahead and keep, getting that word out, but absolutely. And people are really excited about that, and that's really building the excitement for the future.
Second question is, what are your hours on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? When do you close?
We're open from 9 to 4.
9 to 4.
Yep.
Just somebody.
Unless there's an event or something.
Somebody made the comment earlier, though, about the fact that literally on the weekends now, I make a point of driving down there. People are walking in the evenings,
Right.
even after dark. Any consideration to maybe later hours in the evenings and giving people the opportunity to pop by?
Absolutely. I think, that's one thing we've had some discussion on that, even to the point where one of the things that we wanted to do, and we really even discussed that in the master plan process, was to add some additional lighting in there, so that in the evening you could take an opportunity to go through the gardens, be able to use in the evening when it's much cooler as well, is to go ahead and take advantage of that. But absolutely, we're looking at that, because I think that's a great opportunity to go ahead and, even if it's a few evenings, or how we work that, to extend that for sure.
Great, thank you.
I had one real quick, I forgot. As far as the barn goes, I remember there was an issue with trying to get it down or anything. Is there anything we can do to help, or what's going on with the barn?
I think,
I believe it was at, Mike Fegan with Community Development's here. I believe it was approved at the last Historic Preservation Board meeting, which was last week.
So it should be good to go?
should be good to go.
Okay.
We got everything, on our end, ready to go, and, yeah, it'll be, I think it'll give us a great space there to go ahead and start doing something with.
Thank you, Neil.
We would, because of the terms of our agreement, we would like Neil to be able to leave with authorization to move forward on those projects within the Wonder Gardens.
Especially since this will be the public looking at these items to donate on.
I mean, they're gonna have to come back to us for specifics in regards to like Animal Hospital, for example. All of the zoning and pieces of that building and things like that has to go through us.
All the permitting, so all that stuff still has to happen, however, whichever mechanism needs to go forward for those projects. But as far as the blessing of the concepts.
So conceptually.
Capital.
Make a motion to approve the concepts of the plan as outlined by Neil.
Second.
And just for clarification, be abundantly clear, these still would individually come back to us prior to them happening. We're conceptually saying, work on these, and then they would come to us. So we're not saying, do the animal hospital, and then they do the animal hospital. We're saying, yes, all of these things, we like all of these, keep working. And then as they come up, they would come to us, and then we would go through
So
them.
the way our agreement works is that any kind of capital expenditure over $10,000 for any kind of structure would need to be approved. So if the projects that have been outlined today, as long as those projects stay within those boundaries, they would not need additional authority from the city council, except unless required some kind of a special assemblage plan or some kind of zoning or permitting authority. So I think that's what they're looking for today. If there's any particular ones that you want to see more detail on before authorizing it, we can always pull those out as well.
I don't have a problem with that.
Additionally, any naming comes back to council as well. Any naming of any facilities comes back to council.
And lights are gonna go in the exhibits too, like in the alligator underwater, right, so you could go at
Yes.
night.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Purdon. Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Right, thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Great day. All right, item 9, mayor and council member items. First on the list is Councilmember Fullick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will be a little bit longer, but if you'll bear with me, it's positive. So
Thank you, ladies.
what I would share with you is that on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and I think there was a little love in the air because we went in with some trepidation, Matt's smiling, but to deal with the Bonita Springs Elementary School and once again make it very, very clear, we neither own the land nor the building, but it's extremely important to our community. We've expressed that since May of last year when we knew that there was the intention to, at the time, what we thought was partially demolish, and now we know is to completely demolish the building. When we learned of that, we made inquiries, and it started a series of discussions that I think we all agree were primarily one way because, again, we were commenting on a building and a property that we don't own. It does serve over 500 of our children, and including one of our council members who went to school there. We have a strong attachment to that campus. Their initial response to us was to come in with drawings that basically it was a nod to the current buildings we have. If you lived here, you knew it looked nothing like what is there now. And they also had explained to us that the current building, even the footprint, was not usable. So we had a very strong public outcry initially from the Bonita Springs Historical Society. And Councilman Fitzpatrick and myself actually went and attended a meeting right around Thanksgiving. And there were about 28 members of the Historical Society there. Subsequently, we attended a school board meeting. And unfortunately, and this is not an indictment of the Historical Society, but it's very important that when people are vocal or say that they're engaged, they need to be engaged, much like we saw this morning with the Wonder Gardens board members being here. When we did attend, and again, Councilwoman Bogatz, Councilman Purdon, Deputy Mayor Burden, Councilman Fitzpatrick, myself, did go up to the school board meeting. Again, doesn't seem like a lot of progress was made, but there was an election in November, and subsequent to that election, there's new leadership on the school board, specifically Dr. Carlin, Denise Carlin, and school board member Bill Ribble. And at the time, all we'd been asking for was a meeting, and that was denied initially. I want to compliment Arlene and staff on being polite but also diligent in trying to get a meeting nailed down. So this is what happened on February the 14th. Now, I want to say again, the city has not been negligent in any way, shape, or form regarding this building. What happened was certainly unfortunate. The school board wasn't required to notify us what they were doing. Would it have been a good thing and a proper thing? Absolutely. But our intent when we went to the meeting last Friday was to make it a positive, see what we could do to work together. And I would tell you that we've not been the villain here. Some people have actually pointed the finger at the city for this occurring, and we are not. I'm going to ask right now, are there any members of the Bonita Springs Historical Society here in attendance for this item? Not one single person. And that makes some people feel uncomfortable, but it makes me more uncomfortable because we're still the bad guys, but we're the ones that are doing the heavy lifting on this. So no one from the Historical Society is here that may be watching this, and I'll probably get a lot of more Facebook comments, and frankly, I don't care anymore. Dr. Carlin listened to her staff. They came in with a presentation, and for the record, John Dulmer, Arlene Hunter, our city manager, our city attorney, who was gracious enough to come in person, Matt Feeney, myself, Laura Taylor. I think we had a contingent of 6. They had a contingent of about a dozen people. I think Mr. Rooney said that's the most time those people all spent together in their careers, probably. But they did come and they did listen. When they made their presentation about something we had already seen, quite honestly, I stopped them and said that was not why they were here or we were here. And a great suggestion from our city manager was that we hold that meeting here, which we did. We set up tables here, and then we showed them that. That's our school. That's what represents us. I asked if any of them had been born or raised in Bonita. Nobody in attendance there had. Asked if anybody had been to school there. Of course, they hadn't. And many of them aren't even longtime Southwest Florida residents. I think they're all educated people. They understood historical perspectives, but explained that this is not an emotional attachment that we have to this building. This is part of our identity as a city. I will tell you right now, the mood shifted, and Dr. Carlin, I'm just going to say it now with all respect, she gets it. And she, in the middle of the meeting, when we kind of stopped them in their presentation, short story, she's instructed her staff to come back to us with a new option. And what we're looking to do is, again, very clear, that building is not salvageable. It is at a point now where it has to come down. It's not safe. The bricks can't even be saved. They're deteriorating badly. Part of their plan was to take usable bricks and make a memorial garden, and that would be the homage to what we had left. Not acceptable. What we've asked for is an actual facade on Dean Street, which is where you see that picture right now, that absolutely replicates that on a 1-to-1 ratio. So on the same street where it is now, there is a wall that one of their staff members said that they could possibly utilize that location to recreate the facade. And that's all it's going to be, is a facade. The footprint that they have for the new building, which will serve, I believe, Arlene, was it 76 or 78 more students? Something like that. And it would be fruitless. We don't have any real legal standing. We could probably play some legal games and hold up the construction. To what end? We're not going to be able to save the building. So all we do is keep children in trailers for another year or two and waste taxpayer money and time. It's a horrible shame. I know many of us are distraught about the fact that it's not we're going to lose the building. We've already lost the building. Again, it's not salvageable. So they've offered to come back here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, they will make a presentation to council and offer us an idea, a semblance.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. We gave them a month in time.
A month, I'm
It was
sorry.
approximately about 2 weeks till we.
They offered to do it in 2 weeks, and we said that they needed
well,
to do it.
At the end, the conclusion of the meeting was because Superintendent Carlin had offered to have her staff come back and revise things, we want to make sure that we get those revisions before we schedule the meeting.
And give them the time to do it. But they're going to come back with something new. So what we saw, pretty much erase that for now. And I think there is good intent. Mr. Ribble was kind enough to, he was there, he was engaged, and he was certainly not argumentative, and I think he sees what we're asking for as well. He's probably as familiar with that building as anybody that was in attendance other than maybe Dr. Carlin. So I would suggest that we give them the time to do it. I feel confident that there is a different intent now. And her task has been, or her staff has been tasked to do that. You know, it's funny, I was thinking my alma mater, Florida Atlantic University, which is in Boca Raton. It's in the city of Boca Raton. We built a beautiful multi-million-dollar stadium there 20 years ago, and a lot of us put a lot of money into it. Time, emotionally invested, loved traveling over the games. But if the university decided they want to tear down that stadium, not a thing the city of Boca Raton can do about it. It's on state land, it's a state building, it's very similar. So taking the emotions out of it, what we're asking publicly as a council, I think, is for the school board to respect what is important to us, and that at least assemblage of what we have as our identity is maintained. So, any questions of staff? I know nobody's thrilled, neither am I, but it's something.
It is. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you. All right, item B. Chris?
Yeah. I was made aware of the state's Resilient Florida Program Planning Grants opportunity. There's been a number of these grants provided to cities around Florida. There's not really been any city in Southwest Florida that's taken advantage of these grants that are provided by the state. You may realize that Collier County is engaged in a berm program to protect land in Collier County from surges in the future. That sort of stimulated the idea on the part of some people that as those berm structures are built and as hurricanes come in from the south and southwest, there's going to be more tendency for water to be shoved north out of Collier County into Lee County. And so this planning grant would give us an opportunity to take a look at possible solutions to such water coming north, and you know, how we can best provide additional safety to residences and homes in Bonita Bay and Bonita Springs and Pelican Landing and so forth. So you know, there's cities that are building flood walls that would go into effect at their river mouths. There's berms that are being constructed and so forth. And what this is a request on my part that would have council direct staff and Ellie to take a look at this grant opportunity, see if we can get some planning money from the state to see what we can do to increase the resiliency of Bonita Springs to future hurricanes and surges. It doesn't cost us anything to take a look. And it's something I think we ought to do. So I was just hoping that we could give the authority to staff to take a look at the grant. This would be something that would come about in '26 because all the grant money has been spoken for fiscal year '25, but this would be a fiscal year '26 grant opportunity. So I just lay it out for you and say, you know, does anybody have any objection to taking a look at getting some planning money to take a look at resiliency?
You know, I mean, I would add to it that, you know, if we find ourselves in a position where Collier is going to definitively get dollars that are going to create an ability for that, what are our countermeasures available to us? Whether that's even if it's not grant available, what can we if we're in a situation where we're now facing waters from Collier, I'm not even worried about whether it's grant money. I want to figure out, okay, so what's our counteraction and what are our options?
Well, that's what the planning would be for. You know, I don't know that there's any answers right now, but it's something I think we need to take a look at.
Chris, who manages this pot of money from the state?
I don't know if it's DEP or natural resources. It's probably natural resources. But it's, I've got it here.
Okay, now it's fine.
Yeah.
So this is a regular ongoing.
This is a
program
regular
that's been
ongoing
available for years.
program that is funded annually. I think,
We believe it's the Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
yeah, it's probably
But,
Florida DEP.
It's not necessarily always annually. It depends on the legislature providing the funding, so
So it is funded each year by the legislature.
I think-
a portion or so.
There was $645 million that was allocated by the state for planning grants in '25. Mike Sheffield looked into it. I forget what you said the last date to apply was. But I think there was a fair amount of money left over, about 400 million. People hadn't applied, but nobody in Southwest Florida had applied
Yeah, the deadline was in September,
of last year.
and they announced the award.
So we want to make sure we can get a grant application in by September this year for '26. Do we need a vote or just a sense?
I think at this point, let us have a vote on it, and then, but the final grant application, as always, would come back to council, especially if there's a matching requirement for review.
Chris, I had a question. This would not, I'm assuming, this would not negatively affect any other monies that we were looking for other projects, to make that very clear. It's a win-win for us.
It's a win-win, and
What kind of strings are attached?
there's none. It's just for planning
Government
purposes.
money, no strings?
Well, what would happen is the actual notice of funding opportunity would come forward with all the requirements of the grant. That would be an agenda item we'd bring forward for your approval.
I think it's something to look at. What waters are we worried about coming north?
Well, the hurricane waters that would bounce off from
From
Collier
okay.
County
I was
coming
wondering if it was inland sheet flow, which
No.
traditionally goes south, but
No,
so we're
it'd be-
talking about storm surge.
storm surge and those hurricanes that are coming northeast out of the Gulf.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be tied to just that. It could be anything that.
Well, right, it's a
you know,
resiliency
resilient.
grant. You know, there was resiliency built into the CDBG money that the county got, but I'm not sure we got any, if I remember right, we didn't get allocated any of that for resiliency studies.
We got 21 million for Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah.
For infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
And we did
Yeah,
get some planning things. I'll
But
talk
I'm,
about later.
but I'm talking about resiliency from surges.
Hey, yeah, something for staff to look at and see
Okay.
if it fits with.
Well, I'll
anything
make a
that we-
motion that we authorize staff to take a look at the grant and go through the process.
Motion a second, roll call.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purden.
Aye.
All right, item 10, city attorney items.
I have nothing.
Nothing. What do we pay you for?
Well, he keeps giving back money, it works.
Good advice.
For the prorated thing.
City manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At this time, we'll have a presentation on the final design plans by Wright Construction and Assistant City Manager Matt Feeney regarding the banyan tree parcel.
So,
Couldn't make it.
I know.
Mr. Mayor, we've got Andrew Powell and Scott Wyndham of Wyndham Studios, Andrew Powell, Wright Construction. Here, I've got a video that they've generated for the concept for the splash pad facility at the banyan tree. I'd like to show the video, and then, if you have any questions or comments, they're standing by to answer any questions or comments. What we're looking for today is, assuming council is comfortable with this concept, direct us to finish the design out on this concept. I apologize for the music. No, I did not. that's the video presentation of the concept. If you're comfortable with the concept, we would be looking for direction to finish out the design plans. Wright Construction is under a design build contract. They're on the design phase of this. So they would finish up the construction plans and whatever permitting we would have, and then they would come back with a honed construction number, should you choose to, move forward with construction. I've been pushing them, assuming we get the direction, looking for a number very early summer, hopefully late spring. They probably think I'm crazy. But then we could move to construction very quickly from that point onward. We do have about $2.5 million budgeted for this project.
Nigel?
First of all, love the splash pad idea, but again, I did that little tour and just of the 4 municipalities that I visited. When I got there, 3 of them, the splash pads weren't working. And Matt and I have had this discussion. Somehow, I guess there's a belief that water and electricity go really well together.
They do.
They don't.
Conductive.
So I see beautiful lighting underneath, and the 2 things that I'm concerned about are the complexity of this. How do we keep it simple but still attractive? And what kind of an operating budget are we going to have once we put it in? Because apparently to maintain these on an annual basis, it's not a few $100s, it's thousands of dollars. So that's one of my concerns. What have you looked into to help allay some of that? And the second thing is kind of the health issue too, is water, Southwest Florida, mold, bacteria, those kind of things. What can be done to remediate that? Sorry to be the downer here, but these are things we need to talk about now.
Okay. I'll speak about the operating costs, and then Scott can kind of speak on some of the other things. The operating costs, based on research that we've done, is going to run you about $1,500 a month. That includes water, electricity, and the maintenance of the splash pad itself.
So you think we can maintain a splash pad like this for less than $30,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay. Useful life, approximate?
I'm sorry?
Useful life?
I'd defer to Scott on that.
Not sure if it's properly maintained. Components would have to be, upgraded from time to time, I'm sure, over its life. But the intention would be to maintain this in, current, technologies and keep it operational, looking nice. The lighting that you see in the renderings, the video, is really integrated LED lighting that's in the jet displays and so forth. And it would be programmable as the vision, so that the idea would be that it'd be a splash pad by day for the kids and families to play. And in the evening, it's more really a water feature attraction for things happening in the park, Sugar Shack, throughout the corridor, for people to gather and really enjoy the evening. So it's more, the lighting is for that evening display, not so much in the daytime, but the vision is really programmable. That could maybe run through displays, for interest.
So you don't have a lot of concerns about the underground lighting?
Not at all.
This will be new technology?
Correct, and the advisement we've received is there is much new technology compared to past that allows for the operation. The other option is the programming with Parks and Rec staff regarding evening use. We'll be working on signage for that, appropriate, working with community policing as well as our security guards as to, it's a night feature, a fountain feature in the evening attraction, not the play use during the evening.
So we have a new campaign, which would be "Come to Bonita Springs, our splash pad works."
That would be the goal.
We're very hopeful that the splash pad will be wonderful and work, and
Thank you.
a great attraction.
Laura?
I just thought, great job, guys. And I don't know, the splash pad down in Venetian Village has been working for years. I've never been there when it doesn't work. So I think you guys can definitely manage that. And it looks wonderful, and looking forward to it getting done sooner than later.
Jesse?
Yeah, I have full confidence in Ray Construction. You guys have done a lot of business with us throughout the years. I'm confident that this will be beautiful. I think the LED lighting and with the splash pad, the way the banyan tree looks, it opens up the space. It gives a better connectivity to everything we have down there. And I think that's kind of the goal. So you have that going, we have Sugar Shack going, we got Food Truck Park going. We are doing the improvements at Riverside Park with the turf. This entire area is just going to be great. But I think this is really, this is going to add parking. This is going to add bathrooms. It's going to add much needed lighting. So I really, and I think we have the right team to do it with Wright. So I am confident and excited. The video looks great. I look forward to seeing it happen. I think we said spring, summer, potentially starting.
Late spring, early summer for a construction number to come back to you.
Okay, so early
You would
spring.
need to authorize the construction contract, and then, probably late summer, early fall would be construction. I don't want to put words in their mouth. You have to kind of nail the design down. We have benchmarked other communities. One of the things I heard loud and clear about maintenance was don't put any solenoid valves underneath the concrete pad, as well as something Councilman Fullick was telling me, which we already kind of had in the concept, is put your pumps above ground. Don't bury them in the ground so that groundwater can affect them. So we will be cognizant of those issues. I do think there are new technologies with lighting that will help with durability, but we'll work on that in this next phase.
Yep, I'm good. I think it looks great. I'm excited. Good job.
Having come from Louisville, Kentucky, there is a park project, or it's been completed at this point, that wraps around the entire city of Louisville. And within there are about 10 different splash pad setups over a 25-mile period length of that park. And in addition to what we would consider maintenance items down here, they have to obviously deal with freezing weather in the wintertime and maintenance in a, I think, a tougher environment. And it's been a real success down in Louisville, so I'm in favor of it. I think one of the things we have to remember is that what we're actually doing as a city is creating an environment down in the city that attracts people to come down and utilize the entertainment venues, the restaurants, and so forth. So part of the job is to attract companies like Baron Collier to build things, Kyle Moran's company to build things, Jim Magnus's company to build things, and yet surround that with what we're doing is environmentally to make it even more attractive for people to come down. I mean, we've got plans that we're going to implement for Riverside Park. We're going to make that a much more comfortable setting. This plan allows us to better connect the banyan tree lot with Riverside Park. The lighting's going to be showcasing downtown at the right hours in the evening. So, in terms of maintenance costs and ongoing, yeah, there's going to be maintenance costs, but what's the return on investment in terms of people coming downtown and enjoying what we're trying to put together? So I think it's a win-win, so I'm going to be supportive of it.
Yes?
So I'll make a motion to proceed with the conceptual, get to the design phase.
Second.
Concept is outlined in the video.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
The next item I have is a presentation of the December financial report.
Good morning, Lisa Robertson, for the record. We are going to have a monthly financial report for ending December 31st. That's the first 3 months of our fiscal year. We're going to get it here. Just a second. There we go. Our first pie chart is our general fund revenue. That's our regular recurring revenue. At the beginning of our fiscal year, we talked quite a bit about our ad valorem revenues that are listed there. Those are real estate taxes. Most of our property owners pay those in the beginning months of the fiscal year in order to obtain a discount. So this is a typical pie chart for us, very healthy pie chart for us from a financial revenue standpoint. The next slide, we do tend to show you all the same type of slides from a format standpoint so we can easily identify trends and benchmark ourselves against our budgets that we receive from the state. This is our general fund revenue. We try to show you current fiscal year to date as compared to the immediately preceding fiscal year to date. All these items are in line with what we've budgeted. Some of the items are going up some, which is a great thing. Interest is trending up a little bit more. However, we have dampened our interest estimates somewhat for the next fiscal year in line with what the markets are projecting. General fund expenditures. These are our regular recurring operating expenditures. Again, fiscal year to date, current as compared to the immediately preceding fiscal year. The expenditures, unfortunately, are trending a little further up this year. Again, a lot of inflationary impacts there, which we had budgeted and we anticipated. The next slide is restricted revenues. These are revenues that have been adopted for specific purposes as outlined in our enabling legislation. The first one there is, and I apologize, it's a little difficult to read, that's downtown revenue sharing now. That is showing 0 for the current fiscal year and 1.6 million for the prior fiscal year. Typically when revenue drops, that's not a good thing, but this is a good news piece. Last fiscal year, we fully maximized our interlocal agreement with Lee County for our downtown reinvestment. You all will recall we entered an agreement with Lee County that we would both contribute part of our revenue growth from the growth of real estate property values. So we were able to fully maximize that out. We show you each year at budget time how our downtown real estate values, property values are increasing. Great thing for that area, so that's a good news piece. Some of the other areas we have there, road impact fees, you'll notice that is significantly behind where we were last year at this time. Impact fees and building permit fees are based on new construction needs that when someone walks over into the building department and pulls a permit. So timing of those aren't always consistent year to year, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But we are getting closer to build out, so which means our new construction monies, such as impact fees and building permit fees, are not anticipated to be at the levels they were in our construction boom, which again, we've anticipated that in our budget models. Cash balances. We show you the current cash balance for several categories, and then we also show you the 2 preceding fiscal years. This is to enable us to identify trends where we are accumulating revenue or where we're spending revenue for its intended purpose. Please know that these values that we are showing as increasing, those are monies that are set aside for our capital improvement projects that we have. Our capital improvement program, very robust. We do the best we can to set aside money and accumulate money, so when the project actually is ready for construction, the money is in the bank and we are able to expend it without incurring any debt to fund those. So that's the best way we can do it. The second set of cash balances, these are our restricted cash balances. The other good news piece you'll see there, the last data set is the funds reserved for debt. That's where the money is sitting for Lee County's portion and the city's portion to pay, to contribute toward the remainder of the downtown debt service, which again, very excited about. And also we have the $2 million that we have received for disaster preparedness from the state. And that is it. I wonder if y'all have any questions?
Any questions?
Not this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we have an update from Community Development on hurricane recovery permits and monthly activity report for January.
hurricane fee waivers.
I just like, there's gonna be fun going on over there.
Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to the last episode as has the permits turn for our hurricane recovery. We're going to start off just with the past 3 months of what we've been looking at in terms of waivers. And as you'll see, they've been consistently kind of working their way down a little bit. If you remember correctly, January 31st was the last day for those permit fee waivers, and now we're back up to normal fees and processing. This goes through the years, does not really surprise anybody. 2022, we had a couple of people that were able to get permits before the end of the year after the storms. Following year was the big year in terms of recovery, and we've kind of been on the tail end of it since that point. This breaks it down by the type of permit and by the year. You have been generous enough to waive over $990,000 in permit fees to help with those recovering from the storm. To my knowledge, we've been doing this longer than just about any other jurisdiction in Southwest Florida, and I think that the quickness of our recovery relatively reflects that. So, this gets into the waivers by types. The residential is generally the restoration permits, and the trades you see all the way on the right. Those are the two most common types of permits. In terms of the recovery, there were some demolitions and there were some other accessories or miscellaneous, but they tend to be small in comparison. And again, that gets into the numbers. That really shows exactly what the last slide said. Trade permits were far and away the greatest volume, but they are cheaper permits. So when you look at dollar value, it takes a lot longer for them to stack up. And this is the numbers that reflect the dollar values of a couple of slides back. As you can see, there's been over 3,100 permits associated with the fees that have been waived, and that breaks them down both by type and by year. And that is your final update for right now. Are there any questions or thoughts or concerns? Well, I'm not going to say we're completely...
Are you ready for a new season?
More ready than we want to be.
Yes, John.
Yes, sir.
Based upon the meetings that you've had with a variety of potential developers and so forth, what do you see the trend on permits and construction in the city?
Well, I think Finance Director outlined the fact that a lot of our greenfield development is either being developed now or has been developed. We are now getting into a phase of redevelopment, and we've seen a lot of communities in this area that have either entered or are in a very similar place with us. Permits don't stop just because you don't have greenfield development. They do shift. There's a transition into redevelopment. There's going to be a lot. We've already seen tear downs and rebuilds in some of the older sections of the city. I fully expect to see a greater number of those as we go forward. Right now, the numbers that I've seen show, even though we have a significant amount of inspection activity and building activity currently, I think that we'll probably see a little bit of a stagnation over the short term. How long short term is depends on a lot more than goes on in this chamber. However, once that passes, I see the city going into a redevelopment phase, and I think we're going to see a lot of tear downs and rebuilds at that point.
And so it's net is for the next 12 to 18 months, probably we've plateaued then and before
we have probably 3 relatively large construction projects that are underway now with new development, and as those start to complete, then we still have the Bonita Grand Mine that has not pulled permits yet. That's going to be for 700 single families, and we have probably a couple hundred other permits that we know are going to come in the door. From that period going forward, I think it's going to rely mainly on redevelopment and downtown development.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. One thing we'll continue to monitor, as you see, we have not continued with the state of emergency regarding Ian. We're monitoring our neighboring jurisdictions regarding Milton and Helene. Most likely in the next couple of months, we'll be redacting that one as well, those 2 states of emergencies. I did want to remind you all that on March 12th, we will be starting at noon for our strategic priorities session. and we have Dr. Bob Lee from FGCU as a facilitator. We plan on reviewing at a high level the current strategic priorities, any individual projects within those that trickle down to a CIP. We're going to break out into individual workshops like the one we have immediately following this meeting. We'll be looking for definitions and understandings of those strategic priorities. For example, we've discussed with many of you, community aesthetics versus quality of life and how they integrate the two. I do understand from many of you that you like us to also kind of reserve some time to discuss boards and committees and efficiencies. And then any other topics at a higher level you'd like us to work into the workshop. If you can get those to me, I'll be working on preparing all those with the facilitator as we prepare for the date. We will have a hard stop time, so because of a council meeting at 5:30. So if there's a need to continue working, we can make a decision whether we'd like the facilitator continue or if you're comfortable with staff moving forward with additional workshops.
Thank you. All right, mayor and council member reports. I guess I'll start this week. We were up in Tallahassee last week, and I think we had a pretty productive day. Meetings all went fairly well, and hopefully we see some returns from that trip. I also attended the gala at the Wonder Gardens. Great event, a lot of really nice people there. And, they raised a lot of money for their projects coming up, and it's good to see the community support there. I did miss the topping out ceremony at the London Bay Project, Salt Leaf, down at the new Ritz-Carlton buildings by the Weeks Fish Camp. I was supposed to say a few words there. I'll just say them here now. The Ritz-Carlton residence, Estero Bay, marks a defining moment for Bonita Springs, further solidifying our city as a premier luxury destination. The development integrates seamlessly with our community, complementing the natural beauty of Estero Bay while setting a new benchmark for elegant waterfront living. Bonita Springs has always been known for its charm and coastal appeal. With the addition of a Ritz-Carlton branded residence, we are a welcoming and iconic name that brings global recognition and prestige to our city. Temporary construction phase impacts of more than $549 million and 4,798 jobs. They've paid $9 million in impact fees, permit fees, and inspection fees to the city. There will be 139 direct jobs and 89 indirect/induced jobs for the project, or annual operations impact of more than $25 million when it's all done in 2028. Expanding the housing in Bonita Springs. Bonita continues to evolve, offering diverse residential opportunities that attract homeowners from across the country. With 224 luxury residences, London Bay's Ritz-Carlton residence, Estero Bay Project provides new high-end options for those seeking an unparalleled lifestyle in Bonita Springs. Having a developer of this caliber puts Bonita Springs in a league with the world's most desirable waterfront communities. This project will continue to shape the identity of our city, bring new residents who will continue to the vibrancy and economic vitality of Bonita Springs. And with a partner like London Bay, we know that only good things will be coming in the future. This is a transformative moment for Bonita Springs, and I commend London Bay for their vision and commitment to excellence. We look forward to watching this iconic project come to life, welcoming new residents, and seeing the continued growth and prosperity it brings to our community. Like I said, I wasn't able to make that, but Councilmember Carr was there, and if you have any other observations about the project.
Oh, well, it was wonderful. The building's beautiful. Tower 1 is sold out, basically. And they had a tour of the 16th floor, and London Bay never disappoints. But what they also were doing was having a gratitude luncheon for their workers. And there were over 400 workers there who did not do the tour, but waited online for some really delicious barbecue. And again, 5,000 workers, and the CEO and president of London Bay, Mark Wilson, said, and I've got jobs for you for the next 10 years. So yeehaw. And again, by 2025, it's going to bring the city more than $27 million annually. And these folks are going to send money. And somebody commented, well, what about widening the roads and everything? I said, I think we need bike paths because these folks are going to be biking everywhere. And they're going to be walking, and we're going to do our Wheels to Trails. And so it's exciting. And Salt Leaf produced their first annual magazine, like, you know, to portfolio to basically sell their community, but it's told in a beautiful manner. It's a journal. But the best part is the last 2 pages where they talk about the wonders of Estero Bay and the terrific nature and the charm of Bonita Springs. And it highlights our downtown, just, you know, pick them out randomly. But it really does. Like, it talks about the artists' cottages, you know, and it's just really wonderful that it brings out the uniqueness of Bonita. So they're bringing luxury and excellence, but they're keeping it charm. Go visit the golf course. They rebuilt it in an old Florida way. Like, it reminded me of the Edgewater way back when, and when I saw it in black and white pictures. So it is so exciting, and it started everything kind of coming here, and we will be the destination for Southwest Florida. So that's all.
Any other reports?
Well, I could tell you that last night at BSU, our Bonita Springs utilities won 2 prestigious awards, one for water quality and then one for Top Ops, which is like this college ball game where they answer questions and it's competed around, and they won. So now the team from Bonita Springs, BSU, will go to California and compete nationally. So we have our national competition going on with our utility folks. We have our international competition going on with our firefighters, who #1 in the country for rescuing folks that are stranded underground in the water rescue. And so they're competing internationally in Spain. And FDOT would really like folks to remember, season started, drive carefully. Florida is #1 in this country for deaths on the roads, #1 for pedestrians and cyclists being hit by cars, and #1 cause, distracted driving, #2 speeding. And I suspect you combine the two and that's the answer. So please, no texting when you're driving. Pay attention, because seasonal folks are coming down and they just stop in the middle of the road. Wasn't the restaurant here? So much has changed in the past year that they get disoriented. So just be careful, because most car crashes are from the rear. And even though that person stopped and just dead in the middle of the road, you hit from behind, your fault. So pay attention and be kind. You know, we're all going to see each other at the light, so no road rage, chill. We do live in a really wonderful place. Thank you.
Jesse?
Yes. Just quickly on Tallahassee, I think, you know, working with Greenberg Truog, I think, is that they kind of proved themselves again when we were up there, because I feel like their experience really has us in a good spot. We have all 3, unlike last year at this juncture, all 3 of our projects are actually in line and set to be moving. You know, we spoke to both Botana and Tiffany Esposito were up there. Tiffany's actually going to be on the committee that oversees all of these things. Botana's the one who puts them in from the House side. Both were very helpful. And John Martin and Senator Pasadomo, very, very helpful as well. And then back to our lobby team, kind of, you know, showing the differential between, you know, them and others that we could be working with. I think 2 things that came away from Tally of note. One is that we are currently in the process of looking into, in conjunction, I think, with the Land Trust, looking into the Florida Wildlife Corridor designation and what that process looks like, to see if there's components of that will be included, or that Bonita is in, and hypothetically, if we can get on that list, that opens the potential for funding. So you got to be on the list to get funded. There's like 450,000, or I'm sorry, for like 450 million of 9.2 that is not spent yet. So if we can get on the list, that'll open another potential pocket of dollars that could be used in a number of ways, let's say that. And then as far as DEP, you know, there's a list of critically eroded beaches. As you know, Chris Corey's talked about this a long time ago, and other sects of Bonita, but long story short, we've lost quite a bit of shoreline, 36 feet of shoreline over the last 2 storms, and being able to get ourselves on the DEP critically eroded beaches list, like Collier. So like you have Collier who's on it, and then you hit Barefoot Beach and Bonita Beach and it's not on it. So, and we lost 36 feet. So getting that designation, again, can open up other pockets of money. So to wrap the whole thing up, all 3 of our legislative things are in, but if either one of these other 2 pieces that we didn't think of on our own, that they brought to us, come to fruition, they could be worth significantly more than all the projects we put in together, because the price tag that's associated with both of them. So that said, I think they did a great job, and you know, I think we're positioned well ahead of where we were last year at this time. So that's all I've got.
Yeah, I just have a few things. Just a reminder of the town hall meeting being held on February 25th at the Bonita Springs Fire Department. Station 24, the one located off of Bonita Grand. I know in the last few meetings we have had San Carlos Estates on the agenda, and we've had a lot of landowners come and speak in regards to that. And so we did not put it on this agenda. We're going to wait for the town hall meeting and provide updates after that. And I did speak to Chief Greg DeWitt regarding the fire department, and they are hiring, looking to hire 6 new firefighters, hoping to start in May. And they do have a few groups looking at possibilities of purchasing a restaurant. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Chris?
One thing about going to Tallahassee, we decided this year to go up before the session started. Last year we went up during the session, and I think we were very much more successful in terms of meeting with our legislative delegation as a result of going up this time of year. I think that was a good idea. I know the lobbyists that we used felt it was a good idea. It was easier to get access. They were there on special session, but we happened to hit it at the right time during the special session where people were making a record in the legislative bodies the things they wanted to say, and there was plenty of time to talk to our representatives and our senators, and I think we'll plan to do that this time of year going forward, so that was a good thing. I did happen to go to the joint MPO meeting between Lee and Charlotte County on last Friday, and while that meeting really didn't have anything to do with Bonita Springs in terms of planning ideas, it did illustrate, I think, some of the dollars that are going to be invested by Lee County into the road project up there, 5.4 million. I mean 5.4 miles. And you know, you sit there and you listen to what the cost of widening 5.4 miles of Burnt Store Road is, and the design phase of it is 13.4 million, and right-of-way acquisitions another 25 million, and blah, blah, blah. To do the 5.4 miles is going to be a total cost of $134 million. And you sit there and you think, well, okay, so that's going into North Lee County, and we've got all the money being spent on State Road 82. And then you think about our little transportation project for Rails to Trails, and you're asking for Lee County support. You know, I understand that there's a lot of demands, and there are reasons why these road projects cost so much. And I'm not going to get into it here, but you know, But I do think there's that there is a balancing that needs to go on in terms of monies that come this way versus monies that go north. And so just have to keep that in mind. But it was interesting to find out that $134 million to widen 5.4 miles of road is the figure. That's $20 million a mile more than that, really. Anyway, so that was interesting. But that's all I got at this time. I'm ready to go into I do want to bring up, while we have our infrastructure discussion, I think we need to start talking about what we're going to do with going forward with rails to trails. And so, that's going to take more than one discussion. I would like to have a little bit of a discussion at this planning session. I know we'll bring it back up in our next planning session, but, want to offer some ideas, hear some ideas and so forth. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Chris. Nigel?
Yes, sir. Well, thanks, Chris, because you just allowed me to not talk about our trip to Tallahassee, but the takeaway on that was, I really missed Jamie and Jesse and I walking the streets of Tallahassee like we did 2 years ago, but so much more productive. Instead of 2-minute meetings, we sat there and had 20, 25-minute meetings where we could really face-to-face with our electeds instead of their staff, et cetera. And kudos to everybody for going up there and making, once again, a positive appearance for Bonita Springs. And I would echo what Chris said. Our lobbyists are doing a very good job. The Greenberg Troward folks are representing us well. And just, again, to thank staff for what they did on behalf of the city and Bonita Springs Elementary. I think their caution in how we reacted and the fact that we're prepared to listen, I think goes a long way. And I'm encouraging the public and our citizens to get engaged. The city of Bonita Springs does not do business on the internet or Facebook. So if you've got an opinion, you want to get involved, there's the podium. Come and talk to us, but please, telling other people that we're not doing our jobs or the city is wrong makes us look bad on the internet, but it certainly doesn't do anything functional. I'm probably costing myself re-election, right? But that's okay. It makes me mad. It really upsets me to know that we have meetings and we're doing these things, but the people that are most vocal are not here talking to us. So that being said, staff did a great job, and I'm encouraged.
Hey, Jim?
Let me go ahead and put a bow on this. Originally coming in here with no real meaningful comment to share with the community or council, I think what we had here today, the discussion of our touchstones to the past of the Wonder Gardens, the discussion of the Bonita Spring Elementary School, thank you, Nigel and staff, for the work that you've done to move that ball forward there, the future project for the Banyan Tree Park, and the addition of new, at the other end of the spectrum, the London Bay project at Saltleaf. That diversity, that breadth of community, I think is something we should all be proud of. And how we move forward in the next 25 years is going to be critical as we take today's meeting and the strategic planning moving forward. I hope that we consider that and build upon the strong foundation that we have. Those that have heard the message about Wonder Gardens, I ask your support to encourage those that have the pockets and the commitment is to fund some of these projects. The vision, the future is absolutely fantastic, and I just thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Laura, you had something else?
Oh, I just wanted to mention that on the 25th of March, I had said I would be attending the special meeting at the fire station with Adam Botana, but I won't be. There is another meeting that I will be attending, so just wanted to let that out there. And I will let Representative Botana know. I'm not sure if we're needed or not, but
Thank you.
I'm coming to your meeting.
Okay. Arlene, you had?
I just had one correction. I might have said March 12th, and I meant to say March 5th at 12 p.m. March 5th at 12 p.m. It will be our strategic planning workshop.
All right. Public comment.
Hi, I'm Ron George from Little Hickory Island, and it was real exciting to hear some of the developments to take place and potentially take place downtown, so I'm excited about that. I always feel Bonita Springs has two main attractions. One is, as we've talked about earlier, downtown. The other one is my interest, which is the beach. And Bonita Beach is, 2.5 miles of beach that the city basically has as a major asset. And I want to thank the city, obviously, for all of the coming to our, I guess, last-minute effort to help with some financial assistance to get the beach renourishment done. And, I was awed to see how well done the project was, and also the fact is that everybody I run into that's remotely involved with using the beach, et cetera, are just elated by the beach project. And I think Matt's probably had a big hand in that whole project, so I'm real happy about that. All that said, I'm still very interested in the Hickory Boulevard Spur project and when that's going to get going. And as part of that, I know, that whole end of the beach, access 10's been blocked forever, and the beach park north has been blocked. So I'm very anxious, not that I would use that parking, but a lot of our visitors would use that parking. So I think it's really important that, we continue on with those projects. I would also like to see the city potentially continue, if they haven't already, put some heat on the county to clean up their act along Hickory Boulevard and the walking paths and the beach accesses, because, here's one of our maybe two biggest attractions, and it's embarrassing, to be honest. We're 2.5 years after hurricanes, and it still looks like it happened yesterday. And Hickory Boulevard, the walking path is a safety hazard. There's no question about that. And a lot of people older than me, believe it or not, are walking on that path, and it's dangerous. So I appreciate any help the city could give. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I know we're not supposed to go directly back and forth with people, but from a curiosity standpoint, do we have a list? So I've heard over and over that Little Hickory is having a multitude of issues. Almost all of them are county related. Do we have a list of those that's ongoing that we can just interface with the county and be like, hey, you might be working on A, B, C, and D, but are you really working on A, B, C, and D? The pathway is one that he's talking about. I know parking spot or beach access 10 is another one of them. I mean, so there's two right there. I'm asking, so is there an actual list of these? Because I mean, to go to them and say, "Hey, Little Hickory's a mess." Okay, great. What do you specifically want us to do? Is there a sidewalk that you want us to do? That's ours. Is it specifically to the bathrooms? Do we have a compiled complaint list for the Hickory area that we could just get it all together and get over to the county with it?
Yeah, I'd like to also add the flashing lights by the crosswalks that have been gone for 2.5 years for, unknown reasons. There's two large crosswalks that have been without the flashing lights, and nothing's been done.
Those were there prior to the hurricane?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Both at the fire department and by docks.
Okay.
So I believe there's some separate issues going on, and there's some FEMA recovery dollars that the county's working through. Our staff has been communicating with Lee County Parks and Rec staff regarding the restrooms. That's a longer-term action, but we have reached out periodically regarding the walkways, I believe, and some drainage issues that they have regarding those walkways. So I do also I know that Councilmember Fitzpatrick has an upcoming town hall meeting with our district representative from Lee County. We have shared with Lee County staff that this would be a topic we would like some information on, some timeline of recovery efforts, and then also what reimbursements they're working through with FEMA for those projects. And also, I believe there is a flood zone issue with some of the restrooms that were previously there and build back. So I know that's some challenges with that they're working through, but if they can provide some update on that, that was a plan to provide that during the town hall meeting coming up in March.
I just want to make sure 100%. I mean, I don't want to catch Dave. I don't want to invite him to Bonita and then catch him off guard with all this stuff. So if we can give him a list ahead of time that has all of this stuff on it, and then he can be like, all right, this one's me, this one's not me, we're working on this, and yeah, sorry about that. Fine. But at least he has the ability to then kick it back to staff, find out all the answers, and then he can show up and he looks like he knows what's going on, and so do we. So then we can get back to you, bottom line.
And for those that are not aware, this town hall with our commissioner and the county manager will take place Thursday, March 27th from 4 to 5:30 at the Bonita Grand Fire Station. We have given the first 20 minutes to a half hour to the commissioner and the county manager to provide the appropriate updates. Council has been providing suggestions for that discussion. And after that, it's open to community questions and comment. So it's a great forum, and I encourage that you, your neighbors and so forth, whether you're downtown, whether you're out east by me, or whether you're on the beachfront side, it's a great opportunity to get that dialogue going.
Okay, back to public comment.
Sorry.
Mayor, Council, thanks for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Owen Sneath. I live at 25806 Carnation Court in the Bonita Terra Park. I'm here on behalf of at least 28 households. People I've spoken to have their names and addresses to speak to you about the noise created by the retention pond project. We support the project. We look forward to the completion of the initiative in a couple of years. But at the end of Carnation Court, I'm 90 feet from the center line of Morton Avenue, West Morton. And those of us in the southernmost part of the park are subject to loud noise from many of the haul trucks running across the private road and along West Morton, 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday. Pardon me. Many of the trucks appear to be operating without adequate muffler systems to the point where when they pass our houses, we cannot continue a conversation within 3 feet of each other. It's simply too noisy. The loudest of these vehicles cause vibrations inside our houses, which can be felt through the floors and tables. There are some trucks which pass without making excessive noise and vibration. My point being here that we believe the project can operate without a significant negative impact to our lives. The City of Bonita Springs Noise Ordinance states that excessive loud raucous noise degrades the environment of the city to the degree that it interferes with the comfortable enjoyment of life and property. It interferes with the well-being, tranquility, and privacy of the home. Section C states that the article is enacted to protect, preserve, and promote the health, safety, welfare, peace, and quiet of the residents. We do not have peace and quiet. The operation begins as per the permit at 7 a.m. Between 7 a.m. and 7:10 a.m., there are up to 30 trucks traveling across the private haul road, then West Morton Road behind our house, many accelerating as quickly as possible, making commensurate noise. This occurs most days of the week, although there are days when fewer trucks operate. For the remainder of the day until around 3:30 p.m., there can be an almost constant hum as these trucks travel between the retention pond and the mine or other destinations where they're hauling dirt to. There are rare periods of a few minutes when a truck or several trucks cannot be heard accelerating or engine braking along these roads. I've been in touch with Angel Cruz of Code Enforcement many times. He is doing everything that is within his responsibility relating to the timing and permissions allowed by contract. We appreciate his effort. Rick Larson, a friend of mine on Flowerstone, and I've been in contact with mine manager John Fulton and Ned Dewhurst of Oakbrook Properties. They have been receptive to our complaints and continue to communicate with us, but we are still more than a year later subjected to this noise. The noise ordinance indicates that enforcement is the responsibility of Lee County Sheriff. In view of the points mentioned earlier, and with regard to interference in the comfortable enjoyment of our homes, I've asked Lee County Sheriff to observe the problem using their sound measurement device. When the deputy attended, he did not set up within the boundary of the receiving land as stipulated in the noise ordinance. He was 200 feet from the center line of West Morton. My back wall is 90 feet from West Morton. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a credible read on the actual sound that we are subjected to. He indicated that the trucks were DOT approved and licensed and registered to operate on the road, and since the road was not a construction site, he couldn't take any action. We're subjected to constant loud and unpleasant noise and vibration from this activity to the point where I came here to ask for your help. Now, in the last couple of days, yesterday morning in regard to... I'm up. Okay.
Yep, if you can please leave your name and number so we can get in contact.
Mike, you have it okay? Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council. My name's Cindy Johnson, and I'm with Turtle Time. And for those that don't know, Turtle Time's the sea turtle permit holder for Bonita Beach, Fort Myers Beach, Big Hickory Island, and Bunch Beach. So what I'm here today is to request, it's a request for assistance from you to alleviate an issue we're having with the street lights that are on the roadway along the beach there. We're having issues with female nesting turtles and hatchlings being confused by the lights and going towards the road instead of back to the Gulf. And what we are hoping for is that you will retrofit the lights with amber LED lighting, and that will solve that problem. Right now, you are turning off street lights for 6 months a year during turtle nesting season, and that's not safe. We don't feel that's safe. We hope you don't feel that's safe. And if you had these amber LED street lights, you'd be able to leave them on year-round. Amber LED lights are safe, and Fort Myers Beach, I don't know if you know, they're retrofitting their white LED lights, which were installed probably when yours were in 2019, 2018, with amber LED lights, and they're gonna be island-wide amber LED street lighting for Fort Myers Beach. Now, you don't need to go to that extent. You're not a fully barrier island like we are. And they did get this money to do this large project that they're doing from the state, from a state grant. But if Turtle Time can help you in any way, if you have any questions from your constituents, or if you have questions, please contact us at turtletime.org. And your town clerk has my phone number. I'm more than happy to speak with any of you for an extended period of time to help you understand all of this, but we'd appreciate any help you could give us. Thank you for caring about the sea turtles. We appreciate all your help. Have a good day.
Thank you. Anyone else? The lights on Hickory, that's county?
They are FP&L lights. Staff is aware of it. Also, our environmental scientists is aware of it. We have made the request to FP&L. It's their responsibility to change them to the conforming lights. We haven't had a positive response from FP&L, so we have reached out to Representative Botana as well, because he is a contact with FP&L, and we're also reaching out to our government liaison. It is their responsibility to convert them to the appropriate lights. We understand Fort Myers Beach received funding as a barrier island. We're not aware of funding available for us qualifying, but if there's a state program, we're willing to look into that. But it's the responsibility of FP&L to be in conformance. They have decided to turn off the lights as a form of compliance. It's their responsibility to change out the form.
Can we, I mean, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, pressure FPL either through our lobbyists or with a letter asking them to retrofit the lights? Because it's not even a huge, it's not a huge stretch. It couldn't possibly be that much. But I mean, if it's a staff email saying, hey, we'd like you to retrofit the lights, they're going to say, good, it's going in the circular bin. If we send them something, or if Greenberg Truax reaches out to them and has a better conversation, maybe there's actually something that could come of that. But I don't know. Thoughts on that?
If you'd like us to prepare a letter from the mayor, if that's the direction of council, we can do that. We can continue to talk with Greenberg Trog and also to represent Botana's office and then the government liaison as well.
Or maybe Botana will do a letter and we can just co-sign the letter or something like that, asking them. Or, I mean, I don't know. I don't want, if you guys don't want to do it, I don't want to pressure anybody, but I mean, my thought is there's no harm in us trying to more assertively ask them to do it.
I think in our meetings, Representative Botana said that he had someone there that actually listened to him.
Oh.
Better than what we have.
Okay.
If it's helpful, we can prepare a letter with our concerns and we can copy the representative on the letter and also Senator Martin so that both are fully aware. And then we can also, as a courtesy, copy our government liaison as well.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We're adjourned.
How long do we have between?